The Denver Nuggets walked into Salt Lake City with a mission to remind the league that they are still the team to beat in the West. By the time the final buzzer sounded, they had completely dismantled the Utah Jazz in a dominant performance, leaving no doubt about their championship aspirations. But the biggest moment of the night? A mind-blowing half-court buzzer beater from none other than Nikola Jokic that had fans on their feet and the Jazz players shaking their heads in disbelief. This wasn't just a win, it was an annihilation, a statement, and a masterclass in basketball excellence. Let's break it all down, quarter by quarter, play by play, so you can relive every insane moment of this matchup. Right from the tip-off, Denver looked locked in. They were aggressive, focused, and ruthless. Missing two of their key players, Lauri Markkanen and John Collins, the Jazz had an uphill battle ahead of them, and Denver wasted no time exploiting every weakness. Nikola Jokic immediately established dominance in the paint, bullying Utah's front court with his soft touch and elite footwork. Within the first few minutes, he had already racked up 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, setting the tone for what was about to be a long night for the Jazz. But it wasn't just Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. came out on fire, hitting 2 consecutive mid-range jumpers, proving once again that when he's hot, he's nearly unstoppable. Christian Braun brought his usual hustle and defensive energy, while Peyton Watson provided a spark with his high-flying athleticism. And then came the first real highlight of the game. With about 8 minutes left in the first quarter, Watson followed up a missed three-pointer with a monster putback dunk, nearly shaking the rim off its hinges. The Denver bench erupted, and the Jazz crowd, normally one of the loudest in the NBA, was completely silenced. Meanwhile, Utah was struggling to find any rhythm. Colin Sexton tried to take matters into his own hands, attacking the rim and drawing fouls, but he was fighting an uphill battle. The Nuggets were simply too fast, too disciplined, and too efficient. By the end of the quarter, Denver had built a 26-15 lead, and it already felt like the Jazz were in serious trouble. The second quarter started with a little hope for Utah. Rookie Kyle Filipowski began making his presence felt, battling for offensive rebounds and finishing strong inside. Keyonte George also started to heat up, knocking down back-to-back jumpers to cut into Denver's lead. For a brief moment, the Jazz looked competitive. With 3 minutes left in the half, they had cut the lead down to just 4 points. And then, Nikola Jokic happened. The two-time MVP decided he had seen enough and proceeded to put on a passing clinic, threading no-look dimes to DeAndre Jordan for back-to-back dunks. Then came the moment that broke the game wide open. With just 2 seconds left on the clock before halftime, Jokic casually took the inbounds pass from the opposite side of the floor. He took one dribble, looked up, and, without hesitation, launched a one-handed floater from beyond half court. The ball sailed through the air as the crowd gasped in anticipation. Swish! The arena exploded. The Denver bench lost their minds, and Jokic, he simply shrugged. Just another day at the office. Utah's players looked defeated, walking into the locker room down 57-47, and the energy in the building had completely shifted. Third quarter, the Nuggets turned it into a rout. If there was any doubt about how this game would end, the third quarter erased it completely. The Nuggets came out with fire, and Utah simply had no answers. First, Peyton Watson put the Jazz on a poster with a ferocious two-handed windmill dunk in transition. Then, Michael Porter Jr. buried a deep three-pointer from the corner, and then Jokic went into full MVP mode. At one point, he caught the ball at the free throw line, faked a shot, spun around 2 defenders, and delivered a no-look bounce pass to a cutting Porter Jr. for an easy slam. It was poetry in motion, a moment that showcased just how unstoppable Jokic is when he gets into his groove. Meanwhile, Utah fell apart completely. Their offense stalled, their defense crumbled, and the turnovers piled up. Colin Sexton tried to keep them afloat, but his efforts were nowhere near enough. Denver closed the quarter up 89-65, and at that point, the game was all but over. Fourth quarter, sealing the deal. With a 24-point lead, the Nuggets didn't even need their starters to finish the game. The bench took over, and Russell Westbrook, yes, the veteran point guard still had something left in the tank, provided a flashback to his prime. He scored 17 points off the bench, including a vintage coast-to-coast layup that had fans on their feet. But the icing on the cake came in the final minutes. Rookie Jalen Pickett put the final exclamation mark on the game, throwing a no-look bounce pass to DeAndre Jordan for an emphatic two-handed dunk. As the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard read 129-93, an absolute destruction. Jokic's night, a masterpiece. Jokic only needed 3 quarters to do his damage, and his final stat line was ridiculous. 27 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 1 half-court dagger that broke Utah's spirit. This was yet another reminder that Jokic is not just a superstar, he's a once-in-a-generation talent who makes the impossible look routine. The Jazz's struggles. Where do they go from here? Utah was simply outmatched in every possible way. Missing Markkanen and Collins hurt them badly, but even if they had played, it's hard to imagine they would have changed the outcome. Colin Sexton led the team with 20 points, and Kyle Filipowski showed some promise with 18 points and 13 rebounds, but beyond that, it it was a disaster. The Jazz shot just 39% from the field and hit only 8 3-pointers, a death sentence against a team as explosive as Denver. Final thoughts? Are the Nuggets unstoppable? This game wasn't just a win, it was a warning. The Nuggets are looking stronger than ever, with Jokic playing at an MVP level, MPJ stepping up, and their role players thriving. So now the question is, can anyone stop them? Or are the Nuggets on their way to another NBA Finals appearance? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more NBA breakdowns. See you next time.